Hello and welcome, this is Rooflemonger, and in this edition of Let's Learn Soul Calibur 6, we're going to be talking about Reversal Edge. Now, we have already made a video about, the basics of Reversal Edge, how it all works, how it's not quite just rock, paper, scissors, and basically how the whole mechanic works in depth. But I did mention at the end of the video about how there's a lot of character specificity to it, and that's what this video is going to be. So what I'm going to do is go through every single character's options. So this video might be a long one, I'm not sure. But we're going to go through every single character's options. And if you're interested, there absolutely will be timestamps in this video. So we're going to cover what every single character can do from their A options, their B options, and their K options. And go from there. So any further ado here, let's start with Siegfried. So now let's start with Siegfried. So if Siegfried wins on the first round with his A attack, what's going to happen here is it's going to leave you in side stance, which you can then attack from, as you just saw. Now, if it goes to round 2, what's going to happen here is much the same deal. You are still going to go into side stance, but you will get a lethal hit instead, and you are just in side stance in front of them. So the choice of your follow-up is up to you. So basically, no matter what, you will be in side stance. If Siegfried wins with his B attack on the first round, what's going to happen is he's going to get a launcher. And he can get a little bit of a combo. You will be able to air control, so, keep that in mind. And much the same as before, if he manages to go to round 2, you will still get the launcher. That launcher will turn into a lethal hit, and you'll get not only more damage, a much larger launch. So if Siegfried wins with his kick, what's going to happen on round 1 is he'll deliver a single knee and put into his high hold stance here. And if you so care, you can go directly into the follow-up with a kick to get the double kick, or you can go to kick B option. You can do whatever you can do normally out of the high stance. And if he goes to round 2 with the kick, what's going to happen here, and just kind of a running theme, it will become a lethal hit. Meaning you can get a lot of what you could get normally, but potentially a lot more devastating follow-ups, as you can see there. So those are his options. So all things being equal, it really depends which stance you like, or do much you prefer a launcher. For Siegfried, I don't particularly feel, once again, I'm not a Siegfried player, so, correct me if I'm wrong here, but they all feel somewhat weighted equally. They're not one seemingly miles better than the other. I guess kick seems a little weak compared to the other two, but you do get the high stance, and that's pretty handy. For Zasalamel, if you win the first round with the A option, what's going to happen here is, one, you get a guaranteed back turn B plus K, just so you know. And also, if the enemy chooses no option when going for the reversal edge, so they block it, because it is blockable, as with all reversal edge options, what's going to happen here is it will actually leave you very slightly advantage on block. Not much, just so you know, but very slightly advantage on block. It's not a break attack, it's not one of these guys, but it will leave you very slightly advantageous on block. Now, if we go into round 2, what's going to happen is, well, I suppose we should get to that point first, eh? So we get our little cinematic, and bam, we get a big old follow-up, and much better combo opportunities than we had before. So you can get a launch, or, basically anything you can think of, as the spin out gives you a lot of room just to plan out any kind of combo you would like. For Zasalamel's B attack, it actually is a little unique here. So if we got nothing going on here, it's just a bit of a hit. It's not too much. But if you have any amount of curses placed on you, what is going to happen here is if you hit B and B again, it's going to burn the curses for a time stop, as you can see here. And if it manages to go to round 2 for the reversal edge, there we go, we got our clash. So now we go to round 2, we got our little cinematic. We can still get a time stop, and we also get a larger combo opportunity. But it is not as big of a deal as some. Now, moving on to the kick attack. For the kick attack, on hit or on block, this will apply a curse status effect, no matter what. So hit or block, it doesn't matter. You will always guarantee get a curse. So if you're looking to apply your mechanic, there you go. And also, that's a true combo, by the way. So if you do the kick follow-up and it connects, and if it does hit and you do forward kick, you can apply 2 stacks of the curse. Now, if it becomes a lethal hit, or rather it will become a lethal hit on the second round here, and it'll still apply a curse either way, and you can get some bigger follow-ups and just some rather quick moves. So you won't get too much damage either way, but it's a great way to guaranteed, no matter what, will apply curses. And if it's a lethal hit, then you can perhaps do a combo to burn those curses. So for Zasalamel, A and K are kind of weighted a little more heavily in my opinion, because both of them are really good on block. The A version is slightly positive on block, and the K version, even if it doesn't connect, it'll still apply curses. So for me, it's weighted a little bit in favor of A and K for Zasalamel. For Nightmare, his A option is basically a single hit. It kind of knocks back, so it can ring out, just so you know. But that's not going to happen too much, all things considered. And if it goes to round 2, what will happen here is it will lethal hit, but it's kind of the same old, not too much is different here. Just a little more damage. So all things considered, you know, it's pretty basic. Nightmare's B option causes a bit of a crumple state, puts you in side stand, and you get a little follow-up. Not much, but see, the damage is fairly significant. And if you go to round 2, it will turn into a lethal hit, and you'll be able to get a more significant combo, and also, on top of that, you will be able to get Terror Charge. So, I see here, damage that's a little over 100, that's pretty significant. Nightmare's kick option will give you directly right into the Terror Charge attack here, and you can go from that. Now, if it goes to round 2, once again, as always, you'll get that little cinematic, and you are still going to get Terror Charge no matter what, but it's effectively the same attack, as you can see here. So, as far as it comes to his 3 options, his is definitely very weighted. B option is the best option, especially if you're going to round 2. K option gives Terror Charge, which is always handy, although a lethal hit around 2, B will also give you Terror Charge. And A is just kind of a hit. So a hit that can ring out, sure, but that's very rarely going to happen, considering like all the positioning changing and all that happens in Reversal Edge. So if you had to weight him for Nightmare, it's definitely in order of B, K, and A. He definitely has 1C certainly prefers. Now, Azwel is a very unique character when it comes to Reversal Edge, and it proves the system's more than just rock, paper, scissors. So let's start with the A version here. So if he wins with the A version, if you just hit A and nothing else, it's just a hit, you know, nothing much. But if you hit kick, forward and kick, or back and kick, as here these are the stance change buttons, it will immediately change you to that stance. So say we win with A here, and we're going to do forward and kick. That'll put us into axe stance. And we get a little follow-up there. So you can choose, once again, kick is sword stance, forward kick is axe stance, back and kick is shield stance. So after the A connects, pick any of the 3 and you will be in that stance. And if you manage to go to level 2, well, as you can see here, you'll get, you know, a lethal hit, and you still get to switch to whatever stance you so choose. So for this, it's pretty unique, as you get to pick one of his 3 stances if you win, and that's kind of a big deal. Now, an even bigger deal is if you win with the B, because if you win with B, what's going to happen here, you have to hit B twice, just so you know, to get all of it out of there, but if you hit the second time, you're going to go right into Almighty Stance. So Almighty Stance is a stance that's a little difficult to get into sometimes, but if you are in Almighty Stance, you can do quite a few different things. And for his kick option, well, it's a little different here. So let's just pick something here. We'll pick the enemy's going to do A, which normally always beats the kick option. And what's going to happen? Well, you just kind of get out of dodge. You're just gone. That's it. His kick version will beat all 3 attacks. It will be A, B, and K. However, if the enemy chooses to block, aka, you know, do nothing, or if they choose to step or roll or whatever direction, they will recover before you, because they won't have the lag recovery of the whiff, so they will be able to punch that. But if the enemy is going for any of the 3 attack buttons, Azwel's kick will win out. So as far as it comes to just the overall, so the A version lets you change stance whatever you want. B version lets you get into Almighty mode so you can get those big moves out real quick. And K just is, I don't want to play this game, right? Now, you still got to play it a little bit, because once again, no action from the enemy will make them recover very fast and make you very punishable. But for the most part, it is a free counter to A, B, and K, and that's pretty unique. For Xianghua, her A attack on the first round will just be a little attack, and you have a follow-up. You can choose to either be B to launch, or you can choose to hit A again a second time to get a little bit of a sweep follow-up. So either way, you get a little bit of a follow-up. Now, if it does go to round 2, you might want to omit the follow-up part here, because if it goes to round 2, you'll get your lethal hit, and then you can kind of get more of a combo follow-up than that. If you do hit the follow-up button, because it will let you, you'll kind of lower your overall damage potential. For her B attack here, it is just kind of a singular hit. Now it is listed as a break attack, but that doesn't really matter too much, because if they are trying to guard the move, what's going to happen is you move on to round 2 anyways. And if it is round 2, then what's going to happen here? Once again, big ol' hit, and you get a little bit of a juggle. Now, going on to the third and kind of least impressive of these options here, the standard kick on round 1 is just a little doop. That's it. Not too much, not too impressive. However, if it is a round 2 win, what's going to happen here is we get, you know, obviously a little cinematic, bigger follow-up, and actually it can combo directly into super, or you can get a little follow-up of your choice. Her super is very fast, so winning the reversal edge contest into a super, it does scale, as you can see there, but that's still something. But for her, her reversal edge options are not as strong as some of the other characters, honestly. Kick feels very weak in particular, so you probably want to be best focusing on your A and your B. So Maxi actually has quite a few choices from his A attack here. So if you're just smashing a button here and you just can do initial follow-up, you'll get an additional follow-up. If you just let it rock, what's going to happen here is he'll go to a behind lower stance here after crashing wave. So touch nothing, you do have that. And if you hold the A button after you win round 1, if you hold it specifically, it will go into right outer stance instead. So you have a little bit of options with what you want to do. And if you win in round 2, what's going to happen here, I might as well just show it, you get your little cinematic, and you get your lethal hit, and you can kind of just do what you want from there. Now moving onwards here, so his B attack. So if he manages to win with a B attack, what's going to happen here is we get a little bit of a launch. So is he here? Yeah, a little bit of a launch here. Now, as always, if you go to round 2, it's going to be a lethal hit, and that launch is going to be fairly more significant, as you can see here. And you get a lot more follow-up. Now, if you do mash the B button, as I was unfortunately doing, you will get that direct follow-up. So if you're going to win on round 2, hit the button and don't touch nothing else. As if you touch something else, you're just going to wind up with a follow-up and you're just going to drop your combo. So make use of that bigger launch. Now moving on to the kick option. The kick option honestly is not the strongest for Maxi. So if we win on round 1, it just gives you the boot. That's really all you can really say. And if it goes on to round 2, as you can see here, round 2, you get another boot. It's a little fancier, but, you know, even though it's technically a lethal hit, we don't get much in the way of follow-up. So yeah, technically it can ring out, but it's not much. So for Maxi, A and B are where it's at. Honestly, kick option kind of sucks. So for Maxi, you definitely want to be focusing on the A and B options when applicable. For Sophitia, her basic A option actually has a little bit of fun to it. So if you hit forward after the connection, you actually go directly into the angel step. And from there, you can do anything, you know, you can do normally an angel step. And it will be a direct combo, as you can see here. So if we connect here on round 2, what's going to happen instead is, you know, hey, we get the low cinematic, we get that big old damage, and then we kind of still go. And specifically for the angel step stab, in that specific scenario, what we can do is we can get the follow-up as well. As you can see right there. So that's a neat little chunk of damage for the character. For her B option, all it is just basically a simple launch. As you can see here, and you can get the usual kind of follow-up stuff. And if you happen to win on round 2, the launch is simply going to be higher, meaning you have more combo potential to work with. For her kicks, it's not very spectacular. All we got here is a neat little bop on the head. And if we win with round 2 instead, we will get the lethal hit. Now, with this on round 2, just so you know, if you do have a bar super stocked, you can actually go directly into your super because of how fast it starts. Or get a very small follow-up otherwise. So yeah, so all things being equal, Sophitia's best option is absolutely her B option, with A kind of trailing behind and kick being not very good. B gives you the launch, it's going to give you the most damage overall, especially on round 2. And at least, you know, A, you get the step follow-up, so you can either smack them or step and, like, try to reset the positioning for, like, whatever follow-up. Kick, it just kind of sucks. So Astaroth, a little famous for his reversal edge potential. So let's just start here with A. A is definitely the least of the three. it's just a big old smackback. It can ring out, yes, just so you know, but that's kind of all it really is. So, as we see here, this is our round 2 win, and we get a big old blowback, but we can't do too much else. But still, you know, better to win than not. So now let's talk about the B reversal edge option. So by itself here, as you can see, flings you pretty far. It can even potentially ring you out, right? But say we do it on round 2. What's going to happen on round 2? Unless you're facing a wall or very far away from the edge, on round 2, you're just done. That's it. Like I'm like basically in the exact middle of the stage here. You're just done. So it is potentially the deadliest of any reversal edge option in the game, period. Now Kick's a very strong follow-up one as well. Kick is a guard break, just so you know. So for one, you will be advantaged if they attempt to block it. And on hit or on block, so let's just show you here first on hit. On hit or on block, it'll leave them in a crouching state, giving you a guaranteed low throw attempt. Doesn't matter what it is, hit or block. If it's a block, hate your advantage anyways, and it leaves them crouching anyways. So no matter what, if the kick option connects, hit or block, you will have a guaranteed low throw attempt, and that is very strong. It absolutely puts the ball in your court. And if you go to round 2, well, it's kind of much of the same. It doesn't get wildly better. But considering it's so strong to begin with, you know, that doesn't really matter. You still get that same low throw attempt, right? And you see here, that's a nice little chunk of damage. But yeah, so when it comes to weighting his options, like B and K are hyper, both super deadly. On a wall stage, K becomes the stronger one. But yeah, for him, generally speaking, you got to think wall stage or not. If so, I say both B and K are equally valid. And if not, then K is the one to be very scared of. And A is just kind of, alright. Certainly not bad by any stretch. But B and K are definitely where his money is made. For Ivy, first, before we mention anything, I do want to mention that if you hold forward, she will actually not initiate her reversal edge clash and will instead just go right into a whip attack. So if you're for some reason not looking to initiate a clash, then there you go. You will still have the armor frames from the reversal edge itself, so that is unchanged. But it will instead of initiating a clash, just go for the hit. So for whatever reason you're looking for that, that is an option. So now let's just talk about her A option. So if it hits, it's a little smack. And also keep in mind here, hit or block, if you hold A during this, she'll go right into her Serpent's Embrace stance. Now moving on to her B option, she can go directly into basically what would be the Serpent Embrace B attack, as you can see here. And you can just mash on this bad boy if it connects. You can just go berserk, as you can see here. You can just keep going, and if it goes to round 2, it's just much the same, you just get even more damage. But yeah, you just get to go. This is definitely her most damaging option by quite a bit. As for her kick option, let's just set that up here. So for her kick option, it's not too special. So you see here, round 1 hit, kind of a big old boot. That's all there really is to it. And if we go to round 2 on this guy here, you will go to a cinematic. And see here, and now we're going to go for an even bigger boot, and you'll get that little bit of a follow-up. But overall, I definitely have to weight it that her B is wildly her best one. A has some mild use in that if you hold it, you can go directly into your Serpent Embrace stance. And kick just kind of isn't much. So yeah, for Ivy, B is definitely the pound for pound best option. That's really the one you should be applying weight towards. For Yoshimitsu, let's talk about our A option first. So hit or block, it does not matter. The A attack will put you directly into the helicopter stance. So if you mash a little bit like I just did there, you shouldn't mash too much, honestly. You'll go directly into attack follow-up. Otherwise, you'll just be here in the helicopter stance. Now, here's a unique little bit here. So if you initiate while you are in soul charge, this attack will instead become... It'll still be the same basic attack, but it will instead become a break attack, leaving you at advantage on block. Now, if we are to go to round 2, it's kind of standard. As you can see here, big old cinematic, and we get a lethal hit, so we get basically more combo potential. His B attack will send the opponent flying, as you can see here. Just kind of dunk him out something fierce. That is ring out okay, just so you know. It is ring out okay. And here on round 2, bigger hit. Flying not as far away. You can get a very small follow-up after that, just so you know. and that is also ring out okay, but obviously from not quite as far away. Now, if you win with the kick option, this one's pretty fun, as not only will you get your damage in, but you will also steal some super meter from the enemy. Now, what's a little odd about this one, doesn't really seem to matter round 1 or round 2. Even if you win on round 2, it's kind of the same thing here. You do a little bit more damage. Normally you get like a decent chunk more damage. You get a little bit more damage, and you still steal the super. So weighing in all your options, B is very good if it hits on round 2, but overall, A is kind of where it's at, because you get the stance change and everything, and plus you have the added bonus of if you are in soul charge, it will turn A into a break attack. Now, moving on to Kilik. So for Kilik, if you hit with his A attack on round 1, it'll put them in a very small stun state, which you can get a very small follow-up. Now, if you manage to go to round 2, however, you, as usual, will be rewarded for winning your round 2 in a more substantive fashion. As you can see here, much more damaging initial hit, and you still get that follow-up. Now, if you win with your B for Kilik, it's basically combo time. As you see here, you get a different kind of crumple here. One, they have to fall all the way. They won't stand back up. And you can get your follow-ups from there. Now, if you were to go to round 2, once again, it will become more substantive, as you can see here. So we do more initial damage, and then we still get our follow-up. His kick option is very fun, as it is a break attack just by itself. Now, if it, as you can see there, it didn't do much damage if it hits. But if you manage to win round 2 with it, once again here, we get a little more substantive, and it is enough to go directly into your super. So that is pretty neat. So it's a break attack, so if it's blocked, hey, whatever. And on round 2, if it hits, hey, you can go directly into a super. Now, Kilik's Soul Charge game isn't the best overall, I gotta admit it. One neat little thing though, if you are in Soul Charge, you know, it's very unique Soul Charge compared to the bulk of the cast. If you do his B attack, it becomes viciously more powerful, as he does a multi-hit kind of thing, and does a spin-out follow-up, and that was just on round 1, right? So if we do our regular version here on round 1, obviously not quite the damage, and we have a much less advantageous kind of crumple situation. So his B becomes a very vicious and the best option when he's in Soul Charge. But when he's not in Soul Charge, you know, none of the options are particularly strong. Kick being a break attack is very interesting, you know, so you can kind of keep your turn and keep your pressure if it's blocked. And obviously, you know, a lot of characters, for the most part, their best options is their B, so kick, K beats B, that's cool. But yeah, kind of for him, just go where your heart is. Although, once again, if you are in Soul Charge, B becomes wildly the best choice in that situation. On to Groh. His A, it ain't much special, honestly. Just kind of a hit. There we go, that's really all said and done. Now, you do get a very small follow-up here. It's not going to be a lot due to the nature of the stun. It's kind of a fallback stun here, but you can at least get something going on. Now, if we go into round 2, once again, as always, round 2, you do a bit more damage, as you can see here. But the stun is basically the same, so you're still going to get a very small follow-up. All in all, it's not too special. Now, moving on to his B, however. Now, things get a little more interesting with the B follow-up. So, the B follow-up, if it hits by itself, see here, you're getting a nice little bit of hits. And if you hold forward after the initial hit connects, you can go directly into Avenger Stance. So, you can see here, and then you can go spin to win or whatever you would so choose to do so. Now, as always, if we go to round 2, you're going to get more damage, you're going to get a little cinematic. You can still go to Avenger Stance if you so choose. So we can spin to win or whatever. But yeah, it's just a bit more damage. But yeah, the big win is you can go directly into Avenger Stance on hit, and you can get some interesting options from there. Now, moving on to his kick option. Round 1 kick, it's kind of dull, I'm not going to lie to you. It's just a little pop. That's really all there is. If you are exceptionally near ledge, I guess it can ring out. Now, if we go to round 2, it gets a little more interesting, as it will come with a crumple stun. Now, I don't know some of the more optimal combos you can get off this, but the fact is, you know, you can get a follow-up. So on round 2, kick becomes, you know, a very real option, but on round 1, it ain't much, to be honest with you. So when you gotta weight them, B is good no matter what. B will work because you'll get Avenger Stance, you'll get extra damage. A is kind of ho-hum. On round 1, kick is very ho-hum, but on round 2, kick, it's got a little meat to it because of the stun, and you can launch into, like, say, whatever combo you so wish. So yeah, when you're weighing his options, you really got to think of what round you're on, because A is whatever, but Kick gets really strong on round 2, but it's not so much good on round 1. So for Cervantes, his A attack's really fun, because he has the follow-ups that come out on hit or block. So this is the A follow-up, and if you do the B follow-up, which is very satisfying, you just kind of go blah, 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 blah. There you go. Just kind of cranking on the pistol there. And that is a break attack. So once again, this will come out on block. So if they block, then you can still get your bullet shots off. Now, moving on to the level 2. So say we clash and we go on level 2. You're still gonna get your follow-ups here. So if you just let it rock, see here, that's a very large stun. So you can launch, you can do whatever combo. So if it's gonna be a win on round 2, I would suggest not doing your follow-up, because you'll actually be doing less damage overall. But yeah, the level 1 gun follow-up here, after just hit mash B after you connect with A, air block. I love it. Super satisfying. Super, super cool. So for Cervantes' B, what we're going to have here is a little bit of a launch. So from here, we're in a bit of a launch state. The gunshot is automatic. I did not add the gunshot, and you can kind of get whatever follow-up you can from there. Now, if we go to round 2 on this, you know, as usual, it's going to be a little more severe. So we get our lethal hit here. We get a bit more damage, and we can get just a little bit of a better combo. I don't know some of the more optimal routes, I'm sorry, so I can't really show you. Now another fun one here. If we are in Soul Charge, this move actually will change. So if we are in Soul Charge here, if we win with B, and now we're just holding B, and see here, we get a little bit of a more fun follow-up. So you get some more options if you happen to be in Soul Charge. Now for Kick. Kick is, like it is for kind of a couple characters, sadly. Kick is the boring one. So if we win with round 1 here, gives you a little boot. Can ring out, yes, just so you know. Although it will be switching positionings. And if we win on round 2, it's just another boot. It ain't much. It's not very fun. So when it comes to weighing his options, A and B are both really good. Kick kind of, unless it's going to ring you out, like getting hit by Kick's like literally not even like a thing to worry about. A and B are where it's at. Like it's all about A and B. Kick is a really bad option for Cervantes. Now, moving on to Talim. Talim's quite unique in that she can cancel her reversal edge startup into whatever she wants. So that was back, down, left, right, forward, doesn't really matter. She can do whatever she wants when it comes to the reversal edge here, as you can see here. So she can stand sense all the way she wants, all the way out of the ring out, but she does not have to commit to doing it, which is very interesting. She can obviously let it rock, which is fine. And before she commits to whatever stance change she's going to do, she does keep the full armor property of the move. Now, moving on to the A attack. So, if it just hits raw, that's really all there is. Although you can do, once again, any of those 4 stance directions. That's on hit or block. And if we go to round 2, that little spin out stun you saw, it's not much. You can't really get much involved. But if you go to round 2, things get a bit more significant here. We get a much better stun. And see here, a lot more damage. So for her, that is definitely a very real threat on round 2. Her B attack. So if you win with B on round 1, you just get this and it puts you in the back turn stance. And that's really all it is. If you win on round 2, the initial hit will be more damaging, yes. But it's not as significant a gain as it is, you know, on round 1, right? So that's me mashing, by the way. If you only just hit the button once, you will not do the follow-up. You'll just be back here in front of their face. But yeah, compared to the A, it's not much. And also compared to the A, let's just go to the kick. Kick, it's kind of lame, honestly. Just a boot. And even if you go to round 2, yeah, the boot will do more damage, sure. But in the end, yo, it's still just a boot. A boot with a crumple, so you can get, you know, a little more damage, but like A is where it's at. A is absolutely where it's at. Her like wildly more than the other 2. The damage potential in round 2 is really big. She gets to do all of her stance shenanigans on hit or block. So yeah, you just really want to do it. Honestly, you should not be picking reversal edge options as they are, unless you're the one getting reversal edge, because you should be abusing the fact she can like just play around with reversal edge, armor through everything, and just go into a lot of her fancier stance shenanigan stuff. And that's really where it's at for Talim. Moving on to Mitsurugi. Now, if you go with the A option, if you just let it rock by itself, nothing too special. You get a little kick follow-up there. But it does have a built-in follow-up that if you basically just mash A, you'll get these follow-ups, and yo, you see, that's some distance. You can actually ring out from a fairly significant distance away with that. Now, much the same here. If we go to round 2, if we don't touch anything at all, we still basically get that same little crumple. And you see here, the damage was in no real way significant. So all things being equal, you just always want that mash A follow-up. Because you can ring out from distances that are further away than you think. Because, yeah, that's something. That's pretty dang decent. Now, moving on to his B. His B, here we go, has a bit of an attack throw working into it. So it hits, and then all that, I didn't touch nothing else. That's how it was. So there is an attack throw built into it. Now, if we go to round 2 on this guy, this is where it gets a little interesting. So round 2, it's going to be much the same here. You know, I got an attack throw built in. And we can actually critical edge. And this is actually a true combo. So there will be scaling. But it is all one true combo. There you go. You just saw it pop up right there. So that is a true combo. As for the kick, as it is with a bunch of characters, yo, gives you a bit of a bop. It does have a follow-up. If we go to round 2, still not much here. So we win round 2 with the kick. We get a lethal hit, but we can't really follow that up. So we might as well just go with the kick follow-up. It just isn't much. I can't... it's a little disappointing. There's a lot of characters that kick follow-ups are just nothing special. So that just is what it is. So for when it comes to Mitsurugi, round 2B is pretty strong as it has a super follow-up. And just A is the real threat. Like, A is definitely the one of the 3 that's weighted the heaviest. Because the ring out potential is very decent. Too good. Just straight up good, really. And the damage is alright. So yeah, if you have to weight him, kick's not a threat at all, really. B, if you get that bar, you can make that damage work. But A is definitely the strongest pound for pound of the 3. Now, Geralt's reversal edge options are fairly basic. The A version has mash A follow-up, and you're going to always want to do it, honestly. You get that extra damage. Now, what's unique about this one before we get to the round 2 thing? For this, if the enemy soul charges here. So the enemy is now soul charging here. So if we do the A follow-ups while they are soul charged. And they did guard there, but because the way the recording works. But yeah, you get the idea right there. It actually causes a bit of a bounce state where you can actually get much more damage. And that is pretty nifty. Geralt, one of his big things is he really punches people for having, you know, a lot of meter being soul charged. So that is something that works in his favor. Now moving on to round 2. So if we are in round 2 here with the A follow-ups, if we don't do anything but hit A, we get a little bit of lethal hit where you can get a bit more damage. Now, I don't really know any optimal combos off this, so as far as I can tell, mashing A is still the better option. But your discretion may vary here. You know, please absolutely try it for yourself. I am not a Geralt master by any stretch. Now, moving on to B. So if we win with B here at level 1, you get this neat little attack throw sequence. So that's all canned. I didn't do anything to make that happen. If we go to round 2, it's kind of B, you know, obviously it's better, right? It's better than that, but it's kind of the same deal, as you can see there. And going on to kick, keeping up a streak for a lot of characters, but not all characters. The kick option, it gives you the third option, I guess. That's really all I can say. Gives you a little bit of a boot. Can ring out, yes, just so you know. So it's not horrible, but even on round 2, we get the lethal hit, but there's nothing we can do with it. It's just a boot. So when it comes to weighing his options, A is really cool, especially if they're soul charge. B does a fair bit of damage. And K is just K. It's not much. Unless you're worried about potentially being ringed out, there's not much to fear from K. So for him, once again, the whole purpose of the video is to show how people's rocks, papers, and scissors are differently weighted. A and B are weighted. K, not so much. So, Taki is another character that she actually is allowed to cancel her reversal edge. So, while you're reversal edging, if you just hold back, she'll do a backflip and go into possession stance. And once again, she'll gain the full benefit of the armor until you do the backflip. So, if you're looking to do this, you know, for some trickery, it is an option on the table. Now, moving on to her A attack here. So her A attack has a couple follow-ups, actually. So if we just let it rock by itself, that's all she wrote. It's kind of nothing, right? So she can choose to either mash A. So I'm just going to be mashing away here. And, you know, we get some extra damage here. That is actually not a true combo, just so you know. We can also hit A second time and immediately hold back and go into her possession stance. Or conversely, we can hit A once and win with A. And then if we hit B and K, we can go into her roll stance. So she has a couple options, and all these options are also available on block, just so you know. Now, if she does go to round 2 on this, what is going to happen is all these options are still available, just so you know, none of them go away. But that initial crush there gets a little more substantial, so you can actually get some real combo follow-up. So do whatever you deem appropriate, but if you win with the lethal hit on round 2, you can actually get a significantly more valuable combo than the nothing you honestly get. Like if it's round 1, absolutely just go with the follow-ups, whichever one you so choose. But on round 2, it's kind of your discretion for what the follow-up is. Now, the B attack. On round 1, hey, it's a bit of a hit. That's really all it is. If we go to round 2, it's not going to be too fancy, as you can see here. We get a bit of a lethal hit, but the thing is, due to the nature of the stun, it's kind of really difficult to get anything off of it. The big thing is the B follow-up, even if they block, which will, you know, take you to round 2 automatically, they still take some damage due to the fact that all moves with her possessed dagger force the enemy to take damage on block. So that's kind of the advantage here. Kick. Now, we've been flying the flag, if you've been watching this straight without skipping around, we've been flying the flag about how kick is kind of, for most case, kind of the poor man's option. Not for Taki. See there, that's a spin out stun. You can get a follow-up directly. And if we go to round 2, we can actually get a little more significant one here. As always, the damage will go up. The stun is just ever so slightly longer, so we can get a better follow-up. So, for Taki, kick is actually kind of the real deal. You know, it's up to you for whatever combo. I'm not a combo master with Taki by stretch. It will leave you starting in the kick stance, sorry, the crouching state. So keep that in mind. So everything you're going to do from there will have to take into account that you will be crouching. So that's like a crouching follow-up. But kick for Taki is good. Not many characters like Astaroth as well. Kick is very good for Astaroth. But for a lot of characters, kick is generally the weakest of the options for her. Kick and A are generally her go-tos. B is kind of the weakest option. So for Taki, don't neglect kick as an option for your reversal edge. Now, Tira is a stance character, and we have some interesting options with all of our reversal edge options here. So first up here, if we just do the A follow-up and we do nothing else, it's just a hit and get a spin out stun. But there is some follow-ups to it. So say if we mash A here, see here we get some more hits. Now if we instead hold A as a move here after the initial A attack hits, if we are holding it, it will then instead be a little slower follow, but it will turn into a break attack. So if they manage a guard, you can definitely keep the pressure on them. Now if you go to round 2 by itself, so this is assuming no follow-up, we just win round 2. That stun gets more significant, we get a follow-up. Also, if you are in the gloomy state, you can actually do a kick follow-up instead of the regular follow-ups we just mentioned here. It's not much, but if you are soul charged and then do an A follow-up to your kick follow-up, then it gets even better yet. You know, this is one of the things of her being a stance character, so you really got to keep in mind what's going on. Now, if we are in our B option here, it's an attack throw. Now, this is different depending on which stance you are in. If you are in Jolly stance, this is a heal. It obviously still will deal damage to the enemy, but it will heal you a small amount. And if you are in Gloomy, it'll just do more damage overall. Now, here's a really fun one. One thing about Tira is it's hard to get reliable sources of stance changes. And if she uses her kick, no matter what, you will always change your stance. It doesn't matter how it is. They can block it as well. It doesn't really matter no matter what you do. If you use kick, it will be a stance change. So if you're looking to get in the Gloomy or if you're looking to get in the Jolly, that is an option on the table for you. Now, if we go to round 2, so we still get the stance change no matter what. If we go to round 2, we get a little bit of a stun here. We get a little bit of a follow-up. It's not a very big deal. But easy guaranteed sources of stance change for Tira is a little difficult. So yeah, keep it in mind. So Tira, her choices. A is kind of the best pound for pound, if only because if it gets blocked, because that's an option that takes care of 2 of the 3 choices. You can still go directly into a break attack and keep it at your turn. That's really cool. B is kind of just the basic damage one. It also has a heal once again if you're in Jolly, and Kick if you need the stance change. If you need to get out of Jolly and Gloomy or whatever, for example, Kick will give you a guaranteed stance change. For Seong Mina, her reversal edge game's fairly basic, to be honest with you. So if we use the A, it has 2 follow-ups. You can either use AA, that's AA right there, or we can go into A and B. And she'll say go for like a bit of a dunk if we do B. Now, if we win on round 2, I suggest you don't take the follow-up, because as you see here, we get a bit of a stun, and if we are very quick, we can actually get a little bit of a follow-up. Spin out stuns are hard to capitalize off of, but if you are quick, you can make it work. As you can see there. So that wasn't the best combo example by any stretch, but you get the idea, right? Now, if we go to the B follow-up here for the reversal edge. So on round 1, after it connects, hey, it's a big old launch. That's really, really big, as you can tell. Also, if you're right beside the ring, it can ring out. Now, if we win on round 2, it's kind of going to be much the same, just, as always, things are better if you win on round 2. So, instead of that, we get, lethal hit, more damage, and we still get our massive launch. So, this is the combo one, to be sure. You just get a lot of combo potential from that. Now, moving on to well-worn territory if you haven't been skipping ahead with the timestamps. The kicks. So, yeah, kick is just a kick. And if we go on round 2, kick, it's a kick. It's a kick with a lethal hit they can't follow up with, but it's a kick. So, yeah, not too special. So, yeah, for Mina, A and B are definitely the main options you want to work with. Kick is only if you are sure the enemy's just jamming away on B, because otherwise it's just not all that special. Now, 2 things to note here about Raphael's reversal edge. First up here, the reversal edge, if you hold back, you can cancel into his little back stance, which does have a gird impact, so always useful. And now another thing here, if you hold the button, like as everyone, you charge it up, right? But he does move forward here a bit. So if you're just holding up or down, like trying to, get out of it, like, you would anyone else, Raph can actually track you a bit sometimes when he's doing this. So keep in mind that just holding up or down sometimes against the full charge Raphael reversal edge will not always work. Just because the fact, because as he's moving, if you're moving up or down, he will be constantly facing you and auto-correcting his position as he's moving forward the whole time. So just holding up or down is not as safe. Don't get me wrong, you can still avoid it most of the time, but it's not a guarantee like it is against everyone else. Because once again, as he's walking forward, he will constantly be facing you, so all your initial holding up or down is basically for nothing. Now, moving on to the A attack here. So if we do our basic A attack here on round 1, it's just kind of a knockback. It ain't anything special, to be honest with you. Now, if we move on to round 2, so what's going to happen here? Well, we get our cinematic, and it's a lethal hit technically, but it pushed back far, so we ain't getting anything much here. Is ring out okay, just so you know though. Now round 1B. Round 1B, we got a big old stab, and yes, that can ring out as well. Now if this manages to go to round 2, so we got our round 1 clash, and we go on to round 2. Once again here, lethal hit, can't get really much of a follow-up. The damage though, as you can see here, it's nothing to sneeze at though. So we go to now our kick option. So for the kick option, as you can see here, it's like a lot of kick options, just kind of a boot. And if we go to round 2, once again, round 1, not too amazing. If we go to round 2, we get that lethal hit, we get that knockdown. As you can see, you're kind of getting a theme going on here. So Raph's reversal edge options are not the strongest. Not every character should necessarily be bounced the same way. Not everyone should have amazing options, and Raph, it is what it is. If you're the kind of person that's prone to reversal edge quite a bit, though, considering Raph has a lot of fancy options, and once again, he's got basically the best tracking reversal edge in the game. it's going to be give him more chance to hit it than the average character. But yeah, it's 3 options ABK. They're basically all equally worthwhile, I guess, because nothing really stands out. But yeah, he's just more prone. That's kind of his thing. He's more prone due to the hold property here of always facing you as he's doing it. Just to get that reversal edge hit than a lot of characters are. On to our final character, Voldo. Voldo, once again, he's a character that manages to cancel out his reversal edge. So if you hold back, it'll cancel out basically this little elbow hit. And also, this will leave you back facing, just so you know. Now, if you're not aware, one property back facing is his super comes out a good deal faster than it does if he's front facing. And this is a true combo. So you can just cancel that back hit and just smash on super. And this is a true combo. So you will be subject to a little bit of scaling for your super because, you know, it is part of a combo. But yeah, that is a true combo. So you can hit confirm that. So you can armor through stuff, hit him, and get a super follow-up directly. And you don't have to worry about the reversal edge guessing game. So that is pretty cool and pretty handy. It's a nice little feather in his cap, to say the least. So now moving on to his options. If we use the A option, so if we win on level 1, just a bit of a hit. Does leave them back turns, just so you know. And also, if you hold the A button, it will leave you back turned, as you can see here. Now, if it does go to round 2, as always, you know, things get better in round 2. So, once again, if you hold A as well, you'll still leave yourself back turn. But yeah, we get the crumple in front of us here, so we definitely have a lot more combo opportunity. And once again, if you hold A, you'll leave yourself back turn, so depending on how you want to work your stand stuff, those are your options. Now, let's move on to B. The B option. This is going to be a launcher. So if we hit them on round 1, as you see here, there you go. And if you hold the button, just much like A, if you hold the button, you're going to go directly into Mantis stance. So you can get different combos and different follow-ups. Now, if we move on to round 2 here with our B option, now keep in mind it already was a launcher, right? So if we win, the launch, you know, the damage gets a little more significant, and the launch is just a little bit higher. And once again, we can still hold B to go into Mantis stance if we so choose. Now, kick, you know, keeping with the trends here. Kick. It's a kick. It ain't too amazing damages. For a kick on round 1, it's serviceable. Let's put it that way. Now, if we win on round 2, we get that follow-up here. But it's not much. No, the damage is here, 54. That's all right. It's respectable. But other than that, it is what it is. So, for your choices here, A and B are definitely where it's at. Kick. Once again, only if you anticipate them hitting B would you really want to hit kick. But yeah, A and B for Voldo are where it's at. So that brings us to the conclusion of this video. Now, if I missed anything at all, doesn't matter how small or how nuanced it is, please post in the comments below. Reversal edge is still a bit of a mystery, and you know, this big breakdown of everyone's possible options, once again, just to really show, yeah, I guess you could say it's rock, paper, scissors, even though there's a lot more options than just rock, paper, and scissors, but everyone's rock, paper, and scissors are completely weighted differently. As we were going through a lot of the cast, you know, a lot of people's kick attack is not amazing. For Astaroth, kick attack is ultra amazing, and kind of the scariest button, unless you're in an open wall stage on round 2 of the Clash, right? For him, it's a big deal. For Taki, it's giant combo potential, right? But for a lot of casts, it's just, whatever, right? So you got to keep that in mind. Everyone's rock, paper, scissors are weighed differently. And once again, please post in the comments below if I missed anything at all. Anyways, that is it for this video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well. Go out and play some Soul Calibur.